Every now and then we are reminded of titans in the industry going head to head and competing with one another. For example, Apple versus Microsoft or PlayStation versus Xbox. Well, now we can add two more to that list, Lenovo versus Asus. Both are competing for the handheld market share, but who will come out on top? What's going on everyone, Havoc here. So the question that everyone wants to know is which handheld should they buy? And it's completely understandable. Whenever there's a new device, people want to know which one deserves to get their hard-earned cash. Also, let's not forget the Steam Deck OLED that just launched to make decisions even more difficult. But for this video, we're just going to focus solely on the Legion Go and ROG Ally. We're going to take a dive into the nitty-gritty of these two devices and take a look at some main topics such as hardware and software, performance, spoiler alert, they're both pretty much the same, display, battery life, comfort, and last, the major hiccups of each device. I'll mention my opinion on different things here and there, and at the end I'll give my take on which one I prefer and which one I think you would be interested in. So get your snacks and get comfy and let's get started. Starting off with the internals and software. So for the hardware, in general, they're both sporting the same internals, except for a little bit faster RAM in the Legion Go, which is 7500 MHz DDR5, whereas the Ally has 6400 MHz DDR5. But overall, performance is very much similar. This isn't a benchmarking video, but there's plenty on YouTube you can check out. Both are running Windows operating systems. They're both sporting the AMD Z1 Extreme chipsets and have AMD RDNA 3 graphics. There's also a version of the Ally without the Extreme, but we're not going to talk about that one. Both have SD card slots and a headphone jack, which is nice since we don't really see much of those anymore. Both have RGB lights around the joysticks that you can customize, and both are in Xbox style controller layouts. On the Ally we have Asus's Armory Crate, which pretty much controls everything on the device and you can customize it to your preference, from gaming profiles, lighting, visuals, shortcuts, etc. The Ally also comes with VRR, which helps prevent stuttering and tearing in games. One feature that's often overlooked is the fingerprint scanner. This makes logging in a breeze. It comes with one USB-C 3.4 port on top of the device. It weighs around 1.34 pounds, and the device has a native landscape orientation and has a 40 watt-hour battery. On the Legion Go, we have the Legion Space, which controls everything in terms of controller mapping, lights, pretty much similar to Armory Crate and Ally. It has Hall effect joysticks, it has a trackpad on the right controller that you can also detach to use in FPS mode and utilize it as a mouse. There's also detachable controllers and a built-in kickstand. There's two USB-C Gen 4 ports, and both can be used to connect an external monitor or charge. This comes in weighing at 1.88 pounds. Device has a native portrait orientation and has a 49 watt-hour battery. Now the display is going to be a major deciding factor for a lot of buyers. The ROG Ally has a screen which is 7 inches in size. It has a 16:9 aspect ratio with resolution going up to 1080p and 120 Hz. Brightness is supposed to reach 500 nits, but subjective testing showed that it actually reached around 465. The Legion Go has an 8.8-inch screen and an aspect ratio of 16:10 with resolution going up to 2560 by 1600p, and it reaches 500 nits. Also has 144 Hz refresh rate. Subjectively speaking, the brightness on the Ally just isn't as good as the Legion Go. It seems a little dull if you place them side by side, especially in an environment where there's a lot of light and you're trying to game. Now, battery life is going to be highly subjective and depends on so many different factors, but you can say that on paper the Legion Go should be getting a little more on screen time due to the bigger battery, but then you also have to remember that the display is larger so it draws more power. Overall, under moderate to heavy usage, I've been getting around 1 hour tops on each device. Now if I play a game that's not very intensive, I can stretch it out to 2.5 to 3 hours maybe. Okay, let's talk about comfort. This is going to depend on you. As with many things, there is a lot of subjectivity when reviewing products. So I like the comfort of the Ally because it's lightweight, it doesn't have any sharp edges that dig into my palms, but it also doesn't have a kickstand unless you add a case that includes one. Whereas the Legion Go is heavier and not the best for in-bed gaming. With that being said, it does have the kickstand which you can utilize and also has detachable controllers. There's also 3D printed attachments that you can buy off of like Etsy or eBay to use the detachable controllers similar to how the Nintendo Switch is. So if you're the type of person who likes to game with your device on the table, then the Legion Go would be more suitable for you. But if you like to game while lying in bed and not have to worry about your arms cramping up or your palms going numb, then the Ally will suit you better. Moving on to the negatives of each device. In its current state, the software for the Legion Go is premature. However, to be fair, the Ally has been out for a while and wasn't perfect when it first launched either. I don't truly consider it a negative because I know for a fact that the software will improve with updates from Lenovo, but for the sake of the comparison, we're just going to leave it here for now. let's get started talking about all the cons for the ROG Ally. First of all, there's the SD card issue, which seems to have been resolved in the newer Allies that are going into production. Apparently with serial numbers starting with R6 and on, or the devices that have been sent in for warranty and come back don't seem to have that issue anymore. So it seems that ASUS has figured out what was wrong. There's also a dedicated eGPU for the Ally, and you're locked into using what ASUS wants you to use rather than being able to use your own. Sometimes the device has a buzzing sound on silent mode, and I'm not really sure if it's just a few devices, but I can definitely hear it in a room if it's pin drop silent. On other modes like performance or turbo, you don't really hear it. There's also the issue with the stick drift that has been observed by some users. Luckily, I haven't had any issue with that. The max storage is also limited to 512 gigs, so if you wanted to increase the storage, you either have to risk an SD card or buy another solid state drive and change yours out. This device takes the 2230 SSD, but you can change it out for the 2280 by getting a right angle adapter, and that's what I did. I installed a 2TB 2280 solid state drive, and it works perfectly fine, and I don't have any issues with overheating. Moving over to the Legion Go. Now, fan noise is a major negative for me. It's apparent even on quiet mode, and the fans are very loud on any higher setting. The material and the finish on the device is a fingerprint magnet, so you should definitely keep a microfiber cloth handy. There's been issue with the joystick dead zones, and luckily I haven't noticed it on my Legion Go, but other users have voiced a concern, and Lenovo has heard them and will make improvements in software. Since the controllers are detachable, users have also had experiences with their controllers detaching or having a wobbling issue. The RSR seems to be a hit or miss on the Legion Go, as sometimes it will turn on and other times it won't. Speaker quality also isn't the best. You can tweak the settings by getting other programs or adjusting the equalizer, but the fact is that the speakers are pointing away from you, so no matter what you do, the audio quality just won't be exceptional. I think if the speakers were front-facing like on the Ally, this wouldn't be such a big issue. And the screen orientation is naturally in portrait, so sometimes if you attach an external monitor, it doesn't show up properly and is sideways, so you have to go into settings and then change the external display. The button positioning is also not the best, because oftentimes you end up hitting the Legion space and quick menu buttons instead of the start select buttons, which are on the bottom left. And for now, there's no option to adjust these, but I'm pretty sure that will also come later. The directional pad doesn't have any diagonal directional buttons, so this might be an issue in some fighting games. Personally for me, I've used them and I haven't had a problem. Last is the button placement on the right controller. There are extra buttons which lead to accidental button presses all the time, which I find annoying, but I think it's just one of those things that you have to get used to. Something that is annoying for both devices, however, is that you have to go to 3 different applications to update them. I wish there was just one app which could update everything. Okay, let me tell you guys my opinion. So personally, after using both, I prefer the Ally over the Legion Go. The reason being is because of the ergonomics. I love the weight of this device, and it reminds me of using a PSP which was easy to carry around. The screen is the perfect size, it's not too big or too small, the speakers are amazing, and I don't have to use any headphones when I'm playing. The device fits perfectly in my hands, and it doesn't have any awkward sharp angles to where it digs into my palms. I don't get cramps trying to hold it up or having my fingers rest in awkward positions. Button placement is great. I can easily hit the menu for games and armor crate and quick settings without having to move my hands off to the sides or put my thumbs in weird positions. It charges very quickly and can charge while I'm playing games. And logging in is a breeze thanks to the fingerprint reader. I think a lot of people forget that this device even has a fingerprint reader. VRR is great, but with Legion Go's big screen and refresh rate going up to 144Hz, I didn't really notice that much of a difference in games that I played. I thought I would be a big Legion Go fan, but ultimately these things won me over, and I have kept my Ally as my primary device. Now on the flip side, if you don't care about any of the above and you're more interested in having a bigger and brighter screen and getting that 1TB or more storage depending if you got it from Micro Center without having to add in another solid state drive or use a micro SD card, and you love the idea of the detachable controllers that also offer a FPS mode and an awesome kickstand with great angles, 2 USB-C ports, and a trackpad, then the Legion Go is for you. Now I don't mean to sway your decision in any way, and this video isn't intended to hate on one handheld or the other. I own both and enjoy both, but I just prefer the Ally over the Go. So hopefully you learned something from the video and it made your decision easier to make. Well, that's all I have for you guys. Let me know in the comments below which one you decided to get and why. Thanks for watching, have a gout.